All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's Monday night. You know what time it is. Time for the Urban Conservative Podcast. We doing Major City Mondays. Let's go.
Hey, buddy, do you like NASCAR? Do you like a tribe called Quest? Well, you gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Do you like manwich and nachos? Well, then you'd love the Urban Conservative.
Do you like guns? Do you like butter? Well, you're gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Yo, what's good, son? You like pit bulls, say? You like solving Sudoku puzzles? Then you gonna love the Urban Conservative.
Hey, buddy, if your car making a sound like this, you might want to get you some power steering fluid and check out the Urban Conservative Podcast.
Are you repulsed by the idea of drag queen story time at your local library, but enjoy Carol Baskin TikTok memes? Then you would enjoy the Urban Conservative. Do you want to slap your boss and then go home and make yourself some golden brown pancakes covered in butter and freshly made warm boysenberry syrup? Then you'll love the Urban Conservative.
You're a little over Cardi B, and you're repulsed by the thought of Hogmaw. Check out the Urban Conservative. You ready? If you think the earth is flat and always on that weird side of YouTube, check out the Urban Conservative. They'll set you straight.
This is Cash Patel here in North Carolina, and I'm live.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. It's Monday night. Time for the Urban Conservative Podcast. Of course, you are locked in right here with the TUC twins. I'm Raheem Architect Soto, joined by my twin brother from the same mother, no other, Abdul Ali in the building. The website is tuconservative.com. That is where you can go to support what we do here at the Urban Conservative, which is promote conservative policy ideas and candidates and all things conservative to our urban centers, helping educate that electorate so we can continue to see these gains that we've been seeing for our conservative Republican candidates, our America First agenda, our Make America Great Again campaign that is ongoing. It will not stop because it cannot stop. And that's what it is.
Dang, yo, son, you can't even do a Puffy ad lib anymore.
Yeah, I did leave you room for the
Yeah, you can't even do. I thought I told you that we won't stop. You can't even do that anymore.
I mean, you can. Listen, I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and they was like, "Do you think I'm gonna stop stepping in the name of love because of R. Kelly's situation?" like, you know, when that comes on, I'm going to step in the name of love. Right? Do you realize that you have to separate the art sometimes from the artist? And I was like, I don't know if I can do that with Puff. I don't know. This one's
snap!
This was a little nutty, a little fresh. The band-aid has just been ripped off. I can't. I just can't. That's what it is. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, again, the website tuconservative.com. Make sure to hit the like, follow, subscribe. We do this every Monday night. We talk about what's going on in our major urban centers in our major cities across the U.S. every Monday. Well, not every Monday night. We do the podcast every Monday night, but every so often we do the Major City Mondays. Very important to keep abreast of what's going on, some of the highlight stories from some of our currently, what's the word here? Transitioning. Can you use that word? Urban centers. Can you even use that word without people, going off? But
no, I think that's a safe term to use. And if you don't mind, I want to start with this image right here. Okay. The reason I want to start with this image, because this is something that just happened in the city of Charlotte. And when you look at our major cities across the United States, folks, we're talking about places that are by and large, for the most part, controlled by Democrats. Not just any Democrats. Most of these major cities are run by Black and Hispanic Democrats at that. This, what you're seeing is an image of at least of a school bus in Charlotte. This is just a few hours ago. One middle school student injured after the bus was struck by gunfire in East Charlotte. This is on the corner of Albemarle Road and East W.T. Harris Boulevard near the Albemarle Road Rec Center. According to Charlotte Mecklenburg Police, the incident happened around 4 p.m. When officers arrived, they discovered an Infiniti and the Charlotte Mecklenburg school buses had been shot into. There were 30 students on the bus when the shooting occurred. A couple of injured students were treated for glass cuts. Officers made an arrest from the incident described by CMS officials as a dispute, quote, outside of the bus, but a suspect name has not been released. That's kind of where we are at this point in a lot of our major cities, is people are not even cognizant with all of this violence and foolishness going on, that there's school buses around. Somebody's baby could have been seriously hurt. So that just went down in Charlotte today, bro, like a few hours ago.
Yeah, insanity and absolute insanity. Well, let's jump up top real quick and let's deal with what's going on here in New York. It's been a very interesting few days, week really. Since a couple of weeks since the results of the election and the position that Adams is taking, right, on this migrant crisis. And remember, he's the guy that at first his thing was, we're a sanctuary city. We're not going to turn anyone away. That was his and Hochul's and, all of the Democrat Party team members, right, that were pro these illegal, undocumented migrant cash giveaways, cards, housing, and all of these different things. They were part and parcel of that agenda, right? With very, very few, if any, exceptions to such. But very interestingly, Adams has stated over the last, 24 months or so, he has made some interesting quotes. The very famous, "This migrant crisis will destroy New York City or could bankrupt New York City. This is unsustainable." I mean, the funny thing
no.
Well, the thing about this, and I got to point this out, even though this is about Homan and Adams here in New York, that Trump did say when Adams started to become more moderate, more center in his approach to the migrant crisis, he's like, yeah, they're going to indict the guy. That'll get him indicted. And sure enough, within a reasonable amount of time,
voila, indictment.
Right. So the interesting thing about this and kind of what this means for New York, right, is that, all right, so you have this meeting and they want to discuss the deportation issue, right, which is obviously the elephant in the room. And it's interesting that he would be willing to use his mayoral powers to aid in the immigration and what we call ICE's deportation efforts. So the interesting thing about this is that the disproportionate effect that this has had on the Black and Latino, lower income Black and Latino populations in New York City. And yes, the entire low income population of the city, but particularly damaging to the Black and Latino low income population of the city, because these are resources and allocations and housing programs that could have went to veterans and went to, to help the people in New York City. So it is refreshing to see that. In today's news, Trump saying that he will consider upon further review the pardoning of Mr. Adams. So we'll keep our eyes on that story. We'll let you guys know how that develops, but very interesting.
Well, bro, before you jump off of that, right? Before you jump off of that, I think it's important that because I know a lot of people across the country may not be listening directly to what's happening. I just wanted to play a quick segment of this just so you can hear
individuals
what he had to say.
who are repeatedly committing crimes in our city. We're going to tell those who are here, who are law abiding, to continue to utilize the services that are open to the city, the services that they have a right to utilize, educating their children, healthcare, public protection, and the things that we have long been proudful in doing so. But we will not be a safe haven for those who commit violent acts. We don't do it for those who are citizens, and we're not going to do it for those who are undocumented. We made terrible mistakes in the past by preventing to keep our city safe from those who are committed repeated acts of violence, particularly these dangerous gangs that we have witnessed in our city, and we're not going to continue in that direction. I'm going to answer a few questions, and then I am leaving, because it's not going to matter what I respond to anyway. You have your preconceived thoughts already.
So he's not. I think you're right. He's coming to the center. He's recognizing that the direction that the city's going, y'all, it's not sustainable, bro. It's not sustainable. You're on mute, bro.
Yeah. So one of the other things I wanted to mention that was going on here in New York, because we're coming into, well, we're it's getting cold here, right? We've already had a couple of 30s
everywhere,
go down.
everywhere,
it's
everywhere.
the winter season. So one of the things that's important, especially in the urban centers and where people, there's a push right now for funding for what's called the HEAT Act, okay, in the New York State budget. Now that's important because what the HEAT Act is, right? It's your heat and energy, right? Bill subsidies for those that need help. So what's happening right now, if you can't cover your your heat bill in New York, you need some help with that.
Is it electric and gas they cover?
Yeah, it is. It's pretty much. And basically what's going on is what they're presenting is a statewide utility bill cap in New York. Now, what that'll mean is that the program is proposing to set a cap on your utility bills at 6% of statewide income. And now what that means and why this is important to everybody is that no household, and from their point of view, would pay more than this percentage of their income on energy costs. So your energy costs would never exceed 6% of your household income. Now, this is said to make to be designed to make energy more affordable for low income families, right? Now there's an issue because some reports are saying 25 to 30% of homes in New York are energy burdened. And that in their language means that they spend a disproportionately high percentage of their income on energy bills, more than 6%.
Okay. So let me ask you a question. I'm just curious. How many people just have the TVs on to have the TVs on? How many people just have the light on in a room that nobody's on? How many people keep that outside porch light on all day, all night? Does that factor in the Christmas light situation? Because you know the bill, like people just run Christmas lights just to run Christmas lights. I'm just curious about that because I personally am a turn that damn light off if you ain't in that room type of person. I am personally a turn that damn TV off if you ain't in there watching TV. Why is the Roku screensaver running all day for no reason? That's all I'm saying.
Fair, but I do admit we take energy for granted, right? The past two generations of Americans have had easy available energy, and with the exception of ain't having the money to have your lights stay on, with that exception, everybody got electricity. So we have gotten accustomed to, I think, the finer things in life, as it were, when it comes to our energy. It's easy and affordable. We just flick the light on with no two thoughts about it. You make a valid point with that, right? So here's the thing. the reason I'm shocked that more people weren't at this press conference, it was a couple of people out there, and
Mhm.
the thing is this, right? If you are one of the people that live in an urban center, particularly in a city like Rochester, a city like New York City, and you're in a low income situation and you don't know these programs are available, or you're not
Right.
advocating for these programs, um, it's important that you know that these things are happening, right? The idea though is this: if you push a green climate agenda, right,
Mhm.
you're then cutting fossil fuels, you're cutting natural gas, which is going to drive the cost of energy up. And that's the disconnect on the left. You know what I'm saying? For those that don't really understand, that's the disconnect on the left. On one hand, it's we want subsidized energy, but we also don't want y'all fracking. We also don't want y'all going after natural gas. Everywhere can't have a wind turbine. Everywhere can't have, everywhere isn't built out for the infrastructure for solar. So, again, we'll keep our eye on this going on here in New York. What will this heat money be included in the budget? What the push for that would mean? It doesn't clarify how much, but at the end of the day, yeah, 25-30% of homes are energy burdened is not good, and one of the highest tax states in the country. So the idea of raising more taxes or raising any type of cost right now is not a good look. Not a good look here in New York. Ali, let's take a quick commercial break. We're gonna come right back after that. We got a couple of more major cities to cover, and we're gonna be rocking out here with you for the next little half hour or so. We'll be right back here on the Urban Conservative. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Just because you're black doesn't mean you have to vote Democrat. This year, in order to see benefits for our communities, we need to vote outside the box. Find out more by visiting us at tuconservative.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're right back here on the Urban Conservative Podcast. Let's get to Chicago.
Chicago is in the building. Yo, listen. So we talked about this a couple of weeks ago here on the Urban Conservative about Chicago's budget and how short that budget is. $1 billion in the whole Chicago is. They're looking at having to cut services. Your man, Mr. Woke Mayor himself, Brandon Johnson, who ran on the idea of not raising property taxes, got a 50-0 no vote on his first attempt at trying to pass a budget. Well, as of tonight, Chicago has indeed narrowly approved Mayor Brandon Johnson's $17.1 billion 2025 spending plan after 2 months of debate and left alder people bitterly divided. It was a 27-23 vote with just 18 days to spare, averting the unprecedented shutdown of the city government. Now, this budget would take effect in January of next year, but it does not include a property tax hike, even though he insisted for a month that the only way to avoid what he calls his draconian cuts to city services and layoffs and staunching the flow of red ink was indeed a property tax hike. This spending plan is going to call for other taxes and fees to rise by an additional $165 million. Check this out, bro. 2% increase in the tax levied on software licenses, cloud services, and digital goods, and a 1.25% increase on subscriptions to streaming and cable television services. So you didn't get a property tax hike, but your internet's going to cost you more. They're going to tax your Netflix. They're going to tax everything. So here's the problem that you have is that this is an example of one of these major cities that has a mayor that basically rolled out the red carpet for the illegal migrants. Gave them, we've showed y'all on this platform video after video after video of people in the city of Chicago upset with the money that they need to fund their government for the services for the people of Chicago, going to house, feed, clothe, and provide health care for people in our country illegally. So I'm not shocked at all to see that they voted a budget, but it's still, in my opinion, and if you look at this, they've increased taxes. They just didn't call it a property tax increase. So,
yeah, and those are the type of political games people get sick of real fast. I have to say it is unfortunate. It is unfortunate that so many Democrat politicians don't do what they say they're gonna do. And the community doesn't hold them accountable. Re-elect them. It's just insane, that cycle.
Yeah, and I mean, look, the only other thing we're going to mention on Chicago is that incoming border czar Tom Homan had an opportunity to go visit Chicago, and I want y'all to listen to what he has. I'm not going to play the whole clip. I just want y'all to listen to what Tom Homan had to say when he was in Chicago. Take a listen to this.
If your Chicago mayor doesn't want to help, he can step aside. But if he impedes us, if he knowingly harbors and conceals an illegal alien, I will prosecute him.
Oh, Tom Homan is not playing, bro. He is not joking at all. And look, there's been a couple of these woke mayors that have said they're going to fight back. I don't think Chicago's in a position to do that. I think that it would be a huge mistake for Brandon Johnson to try to fight the federal government on making the city safe. And you look at places like Colorado, we've had to deal with those issues here in North Carolina around the illegal migrant gangs and the violence that all those gangs are bringing. We got enough problems to be important other countries' problems, because you look at our crime rate going up, and for some reason the crime rates in some of these countries is almost at zeros because they're sending all their criminals here. So that's what's happening in Chicago right about now. What else we got? What else we want to cover?
Well, I kind of wanted to put out a word of suggestion out for the cities that, when we tag these cities and when y'all see these in these cities that are mentioned, the upcoming election cycle is going to be very important with municipal elections coming up. It is going to be very, very important that you have elected leadership that will work with the people at the state and federal government level that are trying to implement change, right? So this idea of a resistance to the Trump administration is going to be detrimental to you, not to the politicians. They're still going to get their check.
Right.
So they're still going to get their paycheck. That's going to come. But I kind of want everybody to come in, because I think, what are we at, 498? We got 2 more episodes to the 500th.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
So I want to, just like I said on the tail end of this, I just think it's important in these major cities that, reach out to us if you don't know how to get involved politically. Reach out to us if you don't know what the steps are that you should take to hold these elected officials responsible. And listen, we want to hear from y'all. If y'all feel like, the vote does nothing and getting involved isn't going to help, let's have a conversation about that, because I think we could change your mind about that. I think we have plenty of examples of how local involvement can change the conditions of a community, how groups of people getting involved can change the trajectory of an area. So I'll leave it there with this Major City Monday. If you're in any of our major cities across the United States and you're curious about conservatism, you're curious about what the Republican Party is about, and even just becoming more politically involved, right? You want to know how to do that, make sure you get at us. There's plenty of opportunity. Like I said, we need to keep this energy going that we have coming out of this election cycle. And, listen, be safe, everybody. Like I said, we got 2 episodes episodes left before the end of the year. So this is 498. We got 499 and 500, and then we're gonna be coming into to the top of the new season, new year, exciting new partnerships, new things happening. So I'll leave it right there, man. You got anything before we get up out of here?
Hey, one other thing that I wanted to share to people. Look out, be on the lookout for the Urban Conservative coming to a city near you. Just be on the lookout for that. Make sure you go to tuconservative.com. Follow us any and everywhere on social media. That's all I got. Until next Monday, this has been the Urban Conservative Podcast. Make sure you rock with us in the mornings for Top of the Morning right here on the Urban Conservative. For my twin brother, Raheem Architect Soto, I'm Abdul Ali. You've been checking out the Urban Conservative Podcast, y'all. Peace.
This is Cash Patel here in North Carolina, and I'm live.